Okay, it's very Seattle-like here today, but our Bondo is dry to the touch. It's got a little sticky on the outside, so normally what I do is I'll use a combination of power tools and blocks, because if you try to block this flat, you know you're going to be carving all this out here. And if you go in there with a flat DA and knock the majority of this down and get it, you know, on its way to being flat, you can come back with the block and straighten it out much quicker. So that's the technique we're going to use. I'm going to put a little 80 grit on the DA. Use the Dynabraid, and this is this DA is a workhorse DA. This is the it's got the most aggressive throw. There's 3 to choose from. There's a finishing DA, and there's a medium, and then there's this one. And this one's great for doing mud work, and that's pretty much what I use it for, mud work and stripping hoods. Sounds like the kitties are home. Oh yeah, a little craziness. Why did you get 2 boxes of bushings? Well, because I wasn't sure if I was supposed to get uppers or lowers or both again, because if they were all wrong for that side, and I wasn't going back a 3rd time. Now this one that says defective, don't mind that, because that's the one you had me return this morning, that she wrote defective on the box. So it's the same box I had this morning. Okay, don't put it up there. Put them on my toolbox, or not over there. Receipt in case I got a return on them. Okay. I'm going to do my closing. All right, Andrea's sold her first house, guys. So there you go, doing her closing today. Woo! Handing the keys off. Exactly. All in a 2-week period. Gotta love it. There you go. When Hans gets home, ask him to unjam my printer, please. Unjam the new printer. Yeah. All right, nothing like making my video long, so move along now. See you, bye. All right, back to the video. So like I said, we're gonna be using the DA. I'm gonna throw some gloves on. I'm gonna put you on the stand, and then I'll come back over here and we'll knock this stuff down. And hopefully this feather's back right, you know, because you know how it is when you do a video. Sometimes it's just it's a good opportunity for stuff not to work out. All right, I'm going to turn the fan on, of course. You know, if you're not in a well-ventilated area, you should probably have a dust mask, you know, or you'll sound like me. So there we go. Put the fan on. Let me grab some gloves. That fender is bare metal. Yeah, I don't know who it was in the garage. I thought it was Matt. He said no, he sprays Sherwin-Williams. Somebody in the garage sprays Wanda. I thought Wanda was an off-brand of Sikkens, and may be wrong, but we'll hit the door first. Remember 80 grit with a DA? Now we'll go over to our fender.
little quicker, the compressor would have been on. But, we're going to move on to the block now. And now what I like is a little Durablock. These are flexible, you know. This is a Volkswagen fender. It's not flat, and very few panels are flat. So you got to keep that in mind when you're blocking something. I'm using the continuous 180 3M. The brand really doesn't matter. Just get you some decent paper, you know. Norton's good, 3M. Sunmite, you know. Those are the three brands that I know about that are decent. So we got our 180 on our block. Now we're just going to block this down a little bit. And remember, if you're sanding something that's curved, you know, work a curve into your block so you can get the proper shape. I like to block over the line, you know. Our main repair was here, you know. We were trying to get the crinkle and the panel out. So now we're trying to blend this in. We'll throw one more wipe over this with a metal glaze. So I used the DA to cut it down to get my shape, and now I'm using my block for my final. You know? The DA really helps feather the edge of the Bondo. That's another benefit of it. And you gotta learn to use the power tools with the hand tools. I remember when I first got into this, I went and worked at a shop, and there was an old guy over there banging out 110 hours a week, and I was struggling to make 40. And I was still hand blocking everything, wet sanding everything before I painted it. And this guy sort of taught me about DA and stuff, and his stuff was equally as nice. I mean, he just did it quicker, so naturally I wanted to learn how he did it. So that's pretty nice right there. It's feeling really good. You hit these other spots here. We're going to use this fender, so this will actually, you'll get to see this get primed and put on the car. Fiberglass coming through right there. Okay, let me get a little air, and we'll blow that off, and we'll go to do the final step, the metal glaze step. Before I do the metal glaze, I want to make sure that you got all the Bondo off of the edges and stuff. Metal glaze is like the last. Like I said, I use it for like a primer coat. And I'm just going over this, knocking any little imperfections off before I glaze it. Real important that you blow all this dust off before you put the glaze on. All right, hold your ears. You can see how it feathers out. I don't know if you can see, it's a smooth transition. There's no edge. We got a little something going on right here, and we're going to hit that before we glaze it. Now the better the better the Bondo, the less chances that you'll have to metal glaze. So sometimes you got to take into account that if you're having to glaze your Bondo to cap it off so it's not staining your base coat, or if you're getting edges or any of that stuff, then you might want to consider stepping up the grade of the Bondo a little bit. We really don't need to metal glaze this. We can go right in a primer. I'm going to glaze it just for demonstration. We'll carry our glaze a little past our repair ends. You know, we're going to encapsulate that whole repair. We have a few grinder marks right there that will cap off. And then this fender has a gentle stamp line in it right there that will hit with the metal glaze to take care of. But you can see the texture of the Bondo. It's very smooth. Flat to the steel, there's no edge. You don't want to be able to feel anything on your transition, you know, it should be completely smooth. If you're feeling something here, you can prime that and bury it, no doubt, but that will come back over a period of time. So this over here was roughed in with the 80. We're just going to take we don't really care about this, but it gives you an idea of what the repair will look like on a painted surface. You're not going to have any metal showing on your repair. You won't have any edges showing on your repair. You know, it should be completely a smooth transition to either the steel or to the paint before you prime. So there we go. We're not going to get carried away with this one, but we'll give this a quick wipe too with the polyester glaze. You know, you want to make sure the surface is clean. Again, this repair is done. You could prime that, you know, I mean, it's very smooth. You can't feel any edges. Same with up here, but up here we do have a little, you know, the paint's a little damaged. So the glaze will fill this. Ooh, focus, the imperfection up there will fill in with the glaze. Back that back off. It's terrible, terrible, terrible. All right, let me go over here. We'll mix some glaze up. This is going to be a really long video. Wipe our board off. We should have cleaned that a little better, but that's pretty smooth. Now we're going to mix our glaze. And these glaze bottles, you know, you just want to squeeze those, whether you get the Evercoat, whoever's brand, you know, I recommend at least a glaze that has the catalyst in it. You can use the old school nitro stain. It's sort of designed like it's a lacquer spot putty is all it is. And a lot of times guys will use that, they miss something or they get a little scratch or something, but that can swell on you. And Sickens used to have some good stuff called combi putty that used to be pretty decent. You could use it in the booth and sand little chips or imperfections or whatever. The putty's a much thinner consistency than the Bondo, you know, it's made to flow out. So there's a couple different types of spreaders too. You can use one of these 3M spreaders The rubber block type that you'd use for squeegeeing water off, they work good for spot putty. We're just going to use the common spreader. Put some gloves on. You know, always make sure you're ready to go over and spread the Bondo before you put the hardener in it. And because it's got a pretty small window. And some of the putties dry pretty quick. So, you know, they're the same way. So now we're going over a 180 scratch. We roughed it in with 80 grit. We blocked it with a little 180, and now we're going to skim coat it. So, got a new spreader. Gonna meet the hardener. Want to make sure that the Bondo is mixed really well. That can have an effect on the way the Bondo feather edges and performs. So you want to work quick with this. We got the panel ready, and let's go ahead and mix this in. Nice tight wipes on the board, you know, you're not trying to introduce any air and you're trying to get all your bubbles out. Push down firmly when you're mixing your mud. Alrighty, so we're going to set that spreader off to the side. We have a new spreader. We're going to take our camera and our Bondo board and head over to the fender. Since the fender is we're actually using this fender. So, all right. Nice tight wipes at this point, but still you want to, you know, apply it along the way a little bit. So you're not dragging your filler from here to here. You know, you have filler to go all the way on your full spread. You can also, when this filler is wet like this and you're spreading it out, you can sort of look at your repair and see how you look. A few spots right here. Wipe that repair. Nice tight wipes. Again, you want to get that on as clean as possible. There we go. Alright, so you can see how that metal glaze is laying out. It's exactly like a primer coat. You know, it's you can see the reflection of the light in there. It's got a nice shine. It's laying down. It's nice and smooth, and that's what we're looking for. So 180 would be our next step with this stuff, and then we'll go right to primer. And our doors the same way. You know, our repair's laying down flat. We don't have any busted open edges, and when we get done sanding this, it'll be one solid repair. We won't have broken edges or rings or anything to contend with, because our filler is going to be taking care of that. That's the what you want to do. You know, you want to try not to depend on the primer to fill the gaps. We want to make everything nice and tight and nice and uniform, and we shouldn't feel any transition when we're done. So there's that. We'll let that dry for a while. You know, that's another important key, is to let the stuff dry, let the Bondo take its time. That's one thing you can't rush, is Bondo. If you try to sand it too soon, it'll clog the paper up, and you'll get the little rolls cutting the Bondo, cutting lines in it. So unless you're doing a big panel, you know, like if you're going to straighten something with Bondo, and you know, you don't want to have to really be carving a big panel, so you can either use a cheese grater or some 40 grit to knock a big section down. That's how you would level it, you know, so you wouldn't be contending with a large amount of product. But for a small repair like this, you know, you want to make sure that your product's thoroughly dried through so it'll sand properly. And if you wait through these steps and take each step, you know, like we did here, you'll have really good results. And you don't need a whole lot. You know, we've used the 180, we used a little Durablock, and we use the DA. Now the DA is one of the most important steps here. And if we were doing a larger panel, we'd be using the Bondo Hog. This is another one of my favorites. You know, you got an 8-inch surface here that's completely flat. People frown upon DAs and Bondo Hogs, but that's a flat surface there you're working with. You can definitely shape a panel with that and get it ready to block. Obviously, you know, you'd want to move on to a block, either, you know, a hard block or an old school wood block, whatever, you know, or a Durablock, whatever you prefer, you know. Round one, square one. I like these square ones and the round ones. You know, I find myself using these a lot. Here's a piece of 40 grit on one of the square ones. Obviously, I was shaping some mud with that. So I got a couple of these extra ones I'm going to send to a buddy, and you know, I got duplicates upon duplicates. But you know, this is a very popular block because, you know, it's flexible. And then if we were working with the more curved section, we could go with this block. It's a skidded pad from 3M. This works very well too. You can wrap a piece of DA paper on it, or you can use the continuous. So so yeah, but the key is to let this stuff dry between coats. And our next step, obviously, on this fender will be the primer process. And you know, being that I didn't do it normally I go the route of this body over here. You know, it'd be in epoxy primered and etched already. This is another product that I've been using lately, and it's a direct-to-metal product, so it eliminates the need to etch or epoxy prime or any of that stuff. So it's right from steel to primer, and it's ready to sand in 45 minutes too. So it's a very quick product, and it's seems to be really good. So good reviews on it, you know. So that's why I tried it. It's a very heavyweight, thick product. This is what I used on. Wow, that was loud. That's what I used on the bus, Jen's bus. So it's a little pricey, but it does, you know, it eliminates two products. You know, it eliminates the 550 and it eliminates the epoxy primer. And it does have some sort of an not adhesion, but it does have an adhesion in it, but it has some sort of corrosion protection in it also. And still haven't found out what that active corrosion agent is though. But anyway, this is starting to flash off. You can tell it's starting to changed the sheen, but it's still printing. But you can see how smooth this is laid down, and you know, you can tell the repair is nice and flat. You can almost tell what it's, you know, what it's going to look like with primer. And that's why I like to use this as a primer. You know, if the repair is nice, this should be all the same color, and it should be blocked down nice and flat. So we'll probably turn this off, let this stuff dry, and turn the camera back on, and get Hans to edit all this stuff together. And yeah, 28 minutes. First one was 20 minutes. It's a long video. All right, guys.